आप्यायन्तु मम गानि वाक् प्राणश्चक्षुश्रोत्रमथो बलमिन्द्रियाणि च सर्वाणि सर्वं ब्रह्म उपनिषदं माहं ब्रह्म निराकुर्याम् मा ब्रह्म निराकरोत् अनिराकरणमस्त्वनिराकरणमे अस्तु तदात्मनि निरतेय उपनिषत्सु धर्माः ते मयि सन्तु ॐ शान्ति शान्ति ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति. So it was well known. What was well known? Many of you know this story, right? But it is well known that there has always been, from time immemorial, this conflict between the good and the bad. Between the Devas and the Asuras. Now these Deva and Asuras, we have to understand them properly because they exist even today. The Devas, and out there the Asuras. Don't understand Asuras to be demonic with their teeth coming out and wild hair that even you have, right? That's not what Devas and Asuras mean. And Devas mean those who all decked in crowns and jewels. Asuric tendency, those who have more are called as Asuras. And Asura, the very word Asura means that those who live identified, reveling in their senses, means pleasures. And with that comes is attachment, greed, lust, anger, aggressiveness, haughtiness, vanity. So this is called, even in the Gita, there has been given the Daivi Sampatti and Asuric Sampatti. Sampatti here means tendencies. And you know that even we also now and then get it. It's only more. No? That's why when we hear these Devatas, we say, oh, these Devas, they did like that. You go back and your family will tell you, Mahatma. And within 3 days, you are back to normal. Yeah. So that which happens outside also happens also inside. Inside also there is always this battle between the good in us and the bad in us, the spiritual in us and the materialistic in us. Put it any way you want it, no? So this constant battle, confusion goes on eternally. And very often who wins? They seem to be more dynamic, they seem to be more strong, they are stronger. But there are sometimes also the devatas win. In fact, really speaking, most of the time the devatas win. And when do the devatas win? If you see the whole history of the Puranas, that when our goodness gets a focal point of dedication. So when we surrender to the Lord, then that strength comes into us. That's why many times what we cannot achieve, the asuras will use crooked means to achieve it. Hook or by crook, we say, no? But those who have got Daivi Sampatti, divine or virtues that lead us to the divine, to achieve what they want, they will take not only to good means, but they are the ones who will invoke the blessings of the Lord. Just see the difference. Asura, if he's or she is asuras also. Huh? There's no gender discrimination. We should not have it. Huh? Why all asuras are only male? Asura is only male. Huh? That nobody questions, So, just for you to understand what is Daivi and Asuric. They have existed at all times. It's just when they are more, when they are less, when they overpower, which overpowers. They come under different names. But all these asuras do not like you to be devoted, do not want you to practice all your religious, because they strengthen you. And such people who are uncompromisingly good cannot be purchased, bought, made to compromise. See? Therefore, they don't want in the education system. Yeah, you think it's now? So you know what we are falling for? Hiranyakashyap did not even allow his son. He wanted to send him to an international foreign school. So that he also knows that only goal of life is money, money, money. That is the only goal of life. There's nothing more. But you see, prenatal education. And Chinmaya Mission has started that also. Yeah, we have Shishu Vihar now, but we also have Garbha Samskaras. Please bring it to your cities and towns. Narad Muni took him in the Garbha only to the Gurukula. And in an Asuric family with Asuric genes, and that's why we proved that genes is not the criteria. He gave that child Daivi Sampatti. So for everything, for him, Narayan, 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 right? And for father, it was everything should be gold, 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 gold. And with that, the one who has the maximum gold is a maximum power, the maximum. So that's why if everybody wants money, you can easily purchase them. You can easily rule over them. So between these asuras and devatas, But see the history of the Puranas, that whenever Bhagwan came to their rescue, God came to their rescue, they won victory. Many stories are there in the Puranas. So, the verse starts with and the story goes in, and we'll just tell you this, we'll just read the first verse. Afterwards, we tell you the story because there's nothing to be understood of each word like that.
Brahma devebhyo vijigye tasya brahmano vijaye deva amahiyanta.
So it is well known, it is said that Brahman, and the word used here is Brahman. Obviously, this Brahman is not with reference to that which is attributeless. It is Ishvara, or technically, in Vedanta, ʟɪᴛᴏ, or the consciousness that yields the total vasanas, the total mind and intellect, and that's what we call as Ishvara. In our language, Ishvara technically even broken down as ʟɪᴛᴏ, not broken down but categorized as ʟɪᴛᴏ, etc. Meaning, but the Upanishads, which I've said in the very beginning, Sarvam Brahma Upanishadam. So if you are Brahman, why can't be the total one who rules the universe be Brahman? I don't believe in God. What God? To run your one little family so inefficiently. You need someone to lead it. Is it not? Provide for it, lead it. And the whole universe doesn't require nobody. Everything is happening. Then you also sit back. Everything is just going to happen. So it is because of Brahman, means Ishvara, that the Devatas won victory over the Asuras. But they just won victory, whatever battle they were fighting. So they won victory, and once you get what you want, you forget from whom you got it. We are very convenient, no? And when we forget from whom we got what we got, our success, our victory, our knowledge, our abilities, our skills, our talents, we don't remember those. Do you remember your school teachers? How many school teachers' names do we remember also? And when we forget from whom we gained power, whom we got our victory, with whose grace, blessings, help we were able to achieve what we achieved, then even in the best of people, especially doing good work, when name, popularity comes in this, I did it, mine. Ego comes in. However, there is a divine law. When in the good ego comes, Bhagwan also comes to bless them. So these devtas became very proud and अरे मैंने उसको ऐसे मारा, मैंने उसको मारा, अरे मेरे बिगड़ तो ये हो ही नहीं सकता, Everybody was talking away like that. They were basically having a good party. And those parties are generally to, each one boasting of, how many acquisitions, how many. But that's there in the Gita, I'm not joking. how many accusations, who I took over, and who I defeated, and I did this. Even in our sadhana, even in our seva, the moment we forget that seva is a privilege given to us, an honor given to us, an opportunity given to us to achieve what we could never imagine that we can achieve in our life. But when we achieve it, we either get attached to that success, and with that attachment comes in the ego. I did this, I did this. And Narad Bhakti Sutra, you will hear that Bhagwan does not bear ego. Because that is your obstacle to realization. Oh, I've studied now so many Upanishads, Bhashyas I know, Parayana I can do, by heart. Moment that ego comes in, then even in this life to progress, think material progress gets stunted, stopped, and spiritual, though larger the ego, mere book knowledge, hours of sadhana that is declared to others or pretended for others, all becomes ego. So when they became proud to bless them, Brahman means Ishvara, Bhagwan took a form and he came. And in the form of a yaksha. Yaksha means a very adorable spirit. Generally, yaksha also is the spirits of nature. Nature itself is so beautiful. So, the spirit behind it. You might have a very shapely body, but your face will not look beautiful if your mind is not beautiful. So, yaksha, an adorable nature spirit. He took a form and he came. And this also gives us the praman for avatar, which we hear in the Puranas, and as well as in the Bhagavad Gita. And even though in Bhagavad Gita these words are said, sometimes we do not know the depth of the meaning of those words. Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. That paritranaya sadhunam, to protect, to guide, to lead. Who? To take across sadhu. But who is a sadhu? Not Dadiwala Baba. Vibhuti, Jata. Sadhu means one who is good, who lives a noble life. That is called as sadhu. We imagine a sannyasi to be living like that. That's why we call them sadhus. And when some don't behave that way, instead of saying he's not a sadhu, what we say is, sadhu kidnapped someone. Sadhu did that. Can't be sadhu. Sadhu is given name to those who live a noble life. Goswami Tulsidas ji says very beautifully that Bhagwan came in this life. All those who are pure, good, etc. But he summarizes this very beautifully is Rama Bhagat Hit Naratanudhari sahi sankat kiye sadhu sukhari. That Bhagwan took avatar for Bhagat Hit. So most people think Bhagwan came to kill Ravan, kill Kamsa. Bhagwan came for Prahlad. Bhagwan went to Lanka not to kill Ravan, but to bring Sita ji and to bless Vibhishan. So whenever in those, and devatas means who have got the welfare of others in their mind. These are not realized beings, but those who have got welfare of others more than themselves alone, they are called as devatas. Devatas are not necessarily that they don't have their ego or they don't have their selfishness. That's why don't say, oh, this one is like that, like that. Devas means predominantly divine. So Bhagwan took a form of a yaksha and came there. And while they were enjoying themselves, reveling there, suddenly at a distance they see this very attractive, divine spirit. Devatas are anyway in the spiritual world, spirit world. So they see this yaksha. They are curious. And when someone is just standing there and watching you, whether you are enjoying or whether you are doing some naughty things, when somebody is just standing there, neither scolding, if he's scolding you, you can go and fight with that person, but just standing there and watching you. These devas, they notice the yaksha. And they were curious, who is this yaksha? Who is this yaksha? So, they approached the most brilliant of the devas who shines within himself, and that is Agni Devata. They said, you are Agni, you are chief amongst the Devatas, you are brilliant, you go and find out who this yaksha is. Or who he is, what he is, why is he here? Agni, of course, having got the opportunity, that everybody thinks, without me, nobody can do anything. See, everybody, when there's problem, they come to me only, Yeah. But Agni, Deva is it great? They've given me the opportunity. So he went to the yaksha to find out who the yaksha is. But with his haughtiness, with his pride, with his arrogance, that I can know anything, goes to the yaksha. And even before he asks the yaksha who you are, the yaksha says, who are you? He puts a question to him, who are you? He says, don't you know me? Now you listen to Sundarkand, you will hear all these dialogues there. Don't you know me? Now he came to know the yaksha, but now he is talking about, wait, the day you become a, sannyasi and then people come with a private interview, you have to first hear their whole bio. They are not interested in you. They are not interested in what you're going to tell. They are more interested to talk about themselves. So he said, Who are you? Me? I am Agni and I am known as Jataveda. Okay, somebody's got two names, no? बड़ा नाम है, बड़ा नाम है. Plenty of names. So he said, I am known as Jataveda. So Yaksha very politely said, and why is it so that you're called as Jataveda? अरे, इस यक्ष को संस्कृत भी नहीं आती. I am known as Jataveda, the omniscient, knowing everything. And he said, Acha, so what power and what do you do? That's how Indians, from that time, first they'll meet you. They won't ask you, how do you do? They will say, what do you do? So he said, I can blow and burn everything upon this earth and space both, whatever is there, I can burn everything upon this earth. In fact, in the universe. So this Yaksha holds the blade of grass. Who else held the blade of grass? Can you see similarities? I told you how intelligent. See, now I prepared you for the last 3 days. No, but that's because I am intelligent. See how I got answer right away, Sita ji. So Yaksha said, okay, here is this blade of grass. Show me what you can do. And he huffed and he puffed. But he could not burn that blade of grass. He had gone to find out who the Yaksha is, but because he could not show his power, humiliated as such by himself, he put his head down and came back. And the Devas asked him, so did you know who he is? Did you know who he is? Did you know who he is? Very difficult. I don't know. He didn't tell. Then they turned to the next powerful Devata, and that is Vayu. And they said, you can achieve anything. So you go. So Vayu came, blowing his way, creating a tornado, and zwing, he reached there. Almost storming to perform. There's a book called Storm to Perform. He was storming to perform. So he went storming to perform there. And he stood there in front of the Yaksha, and the Yaksha said, who are you? And he says, I am Vayu, and he also gives a second name. Matarishwanaya. Now why are you called so? Because I am the trodder of the skies. I move in space without any immigration, without any restrictions, without any speed controls. And what can you do? I can blow off anything. And when a storm comes, you had just a glimpse. That is why even the day he wants to storm, because his son is here, even that was gentle. But I can blow anything. So he said, then just blow this twig, this blade of grass. And why you did whatever? Nothing happened. And he came. He went to storm, but he came back completely deflated. Then all of them said, Indra, you are Bhagavan. Mega you are. Yeah, you are our leader. Yeah, you are the most powerful. You better go and find out. You better go and find out who this is, because Agni could not know him. Vayu could not know him. If Agni and Vayu can't know him, I don't think so any one of us have got power to know him. Therefore, you are chief amongst the Devas. You are the most powerful. You go and find out. Because now you are a boss, so go. You do it. And Indra went there, and the king of the Devas is going there. And as Indra came close to the Yaksha, suddenly the Yaksha disappears. Indra came to know who this Yaksha was, but the Yaksha disappears. But unlike the other Devas, Indra didn't say, "Are mujhe dekhkar bhag gaya ho." But what is the purpose? To know the Yaksha. He didn't say that the Yaksha ran away, he was frightened of me. He was at that moment, the king of the Devas did not get an audience with this Yaksha. Humbled, he stood there only and refused to go away from there. Looking at the very spot where he glimpsed that Yaksha. And now he was there and now he is not there. And he just stood there stupefied. And right in that place where the Yaksha stood, the most beautiful daughter of the Himalayas, Uma, decked in gold, shining like the golden mountains. She stood there, brilliant, beautiful, charming. And Indra suddenly see such a beautiful damsel there. He asked her, "Who was that?" And here very few words that he just said. And Uma said that was Brahman, because of whom you are victorious. That's all she told him. And he came back and told Agni and Vayu, who had pursued to go and find out who this Yaksha was. So told them that Yaksha is Brahman. Now they also came to know from Indra Devata. And it is famous that these three devatas hold the supremost positions because Indra was the first to find out from Uma that the Yaksha is Brahman, and from Indra, Agni and Vayu, because they even attempted to approach and gain, became glorious. So they lived happily ever after. The story ends here. But see how rapt attention. Normally, Swamiji, this time, little sleepy. I mean, not that I've slept, not that any one of you have slept. Maybe one, okay. Yeah, so I'm just joking to wake you up. But the story, did anybody sleep? No, what a simple story. But in fact, whatever knowledge has been given in the Upanishad has been given in this story. And a lot more preparations and many other things have been said. You can just go on and on and on and on and on for a lifetime thinking over this story. This short, simple story. Yeah. Now, who is the Devata of our eyes? Agni. Who is the Devata of our speech? Fire. Fiery speech. क्या ठंडा ठंडा बोल रहा था. Fiery speech. You say, there's fire in his speech. So this is the two. That's why in cold places you think that they're snobbish, but you can't talk. And all the hot places, India, Africa, go to Indonesia, Thailand, Spain, Italy. Italy came from Italy. Even compared from Kashmir to Kanyakumari. See the tempo, how it goes on increasing. Yeah? So hot means speech. Na tatra vāgacchati, na chakshugacchati. You understand now? See, so intelligent, no? That which is not known by speech, that which cannot be described by speech, that which cannot be seen by the eyes, that because of which the eyes and speech can function. Tadeva Brahmatvam Viddhi. So from where did even the eyes and the speech get power? Without whom they have no power, without whom they cannot see anything, they cannot achieve anything. Same way, Vayu cannot smell anything, cannot hold or touch anything. No movement is possible. What is that because of which none of these devas can function? And they become glorious with their achievement. Dead matter cannot achieve anything. But the senses are that with which we in this world not only perceive and achieve, which are made up of these 5 elements, these devas, but without consciousness, the eyes are open but cannot see. Mouth is definitely open but cannot speak. And who is Indra? Indriyanam Raja. Yeah. Indraha. So, who is the king of all the sense organs? Mind. But a mind like Indra. So, somewhere in our life, there is maybe a doubt that arises in your mind, a question that arises in your mind, an attractive question that arises in your mind, or there is a moment of some peace and joy that you experience which is inexplicable, and your mind begins to inquire, your senses seem to search for it, but you can't find it in the objects. But that mind that does not give up, afterwards, other than the known and the unknown, I know it, I don't know it well, but I know it, but I don't know it, I give up. But that mind which does not give up, then there itself comes Uma, the daughter of the Himavan. Hema means gold. So she is all dressed with shining like gold. And gold means kanchan. Kanchana varana piraja, decked in jewels. Mat vich ratana jawara manika je ek gur ki sikh suni. Dressed in jewels, because what? Pearls and jewels. And Uma represents that Mother Divine who is Mother Shruti, the scriptures. And just as Mother only reveals the Father, Mother only nourishes the child, we call the scriptures Shruti as Mother, and we abandon our Mother searching for some quick benefit, quick fix. And Mother Shruti, and that those who are asking, how do we find a guru? You be a sincere seeker and do not give up your pursuit. Even when you are taught the knowledge and you don't understand, don't give up. So Indra represents one who has Shama, Dhamma, Titiksha, but most of all, Pranipatena. With that humility, he stood there till he would know. Unlike Agni and Vayu, did not accept defeat and came, but stood there with humility. And there, the knowledge of the scriptures. Uma represents also Guru, because the knowledge of the scriptures, only from the Guru we can get. And she told that because of which you have all the power, whose mere glimpse you see sometimes in your achievements, but we forget by whom? Keneshitam. Patati preshitam manaha. When we forget from whom we get the power. Externally, it is from the cosmic mind that we get everything. Cosmic mind is the mind has to have consciousness. Yeah. So from Ishwar, we have gained everything. And when we forget, then there is ego, there is pride, arrogance, there is selfishness, and there is greed. And what these devatas were fighting, they were becoming. So Bhagwan, to bless them, and through them bless the world around, took this form of a yaksha, sometimes with a gada, dhadam. I have achieved so much, why I can't do anything right now? Ye kya hua? Kaise hua? Somehow or the other, that curiosity rises in you. When you're young and all that, oh yeah, I'm achieving everything. I don't believe in God. What God? What God? What nature? What this? Everything is mine. Everything I do. And then, after all your achievements also, suddenly, there's a wake-up call that you do anything and nothing happens. Business you must have done great. But your own children you can't tame. Psychologist by profession. Leading the institution of psychologists. But your own child, you can't. That's when you become helpless and then ask. But see, Sugriv could not find out who these two handsome. But Hanumanji went there, and before anything, Ko tum shamal gaur sharira. Very, very similar these stories are, in different contexts, different things. But Sugriv sent Hanumanji to find out who they are, did not run away. He could not figure out who they are. Chauki muni srap diyo tab. Vichar vicharo. From where this has come. So as some form of curiosity rises in us. We keep seeing the glimpse of that blessings, that grace, that divinity. Were we not humbled by this the whole world was brought to its knees with this one virus. One unknown, not visible virus brought the whole world to a standstill. What power do you have, you tell me? That's the time everybody became philosophical or not? WhatsApp messages were the best. Poetries that came out of people. Quotes, everybody now, if you see, have become a quoter. And the more likes they are getting, the more nonsense quotes they are putting down. Because now, lockdown is over and lockout has started. So nothing profound is coming up. So if you go on, there are so many things in this story. To start with, that for good to win, it needs the support of a higher ideal. But when doing good, we get name, fame. Punya karmana kirti marjaya. No? We become proud and arrogant. But because there is some amount of goodness and we achieved it, then some divine grace comes. Binu satsanga vivek na hoi, Rama kripa binu sulabhana soi. And for the sadhus, for the good, for the devas, viprasura denu hita leena manuja avatar. So Bhagwan takes the form of a human being, of a tortoise or a fish, whichever form, because of whom your form is there, cannot take a form. Who are you to say? Yeah. The infinite can create all these things in creation, but the creation cannot take a godly form and come. Who are you to? The infinite cannot take the godly form. Need not take is one thing, but cannot take is a different thing. So to bless Sagun Brahma, Ishvara takes a form and comes. Whether it is an avatar outside or whether it is that doubt that makes you inquire and a glimpse within, that makes you aspire. But then your search begins. You want to see, you want to hear, you want someone to describe it. No? You want to describe it, you can't verbalize it. But this is to understand, na tatra vāgacchati no manaha. It cannot be known by the senses or the mind. How can it be known? Only through Shruti Praman. Only through the blessings of the Guru. All this is there in this story. But which seeker gains it? Who does not give up. One who is humble. One who has got fortitude. Did you read in Kishkinda Kand? Who will, when Sarpati says, who will go across this ocean? One who is buddhivan, who is dhairyavan, who is shraddhavan, and one who will take the leap. All these qualities are there in those who attained Bhagwan. See? Therefore, these Puranic stories leave an impression in our mind. That after some time, even without you consciously doing something, that devotion, that faith that develops within you, and the knowledge that if Agni and they cannot reach it, but Indra can reach it by this manner, which means those who have these qualities can gain even the knowledge of the scriptures, which is still indirect knowledge. But even with indirect knowledge, you can go fatafat. Yeah. Speak to people. Kya Maharaj ji? Param Jnani, Param Hamsa. Yeah. Shri, 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 Shri. So that glimpse of that reality. So Mother Shruti blesses us. And that is how we must treasure the words of Mother Shruti. You see, the Mother Shruti only said that because of which you gained your victory, that is Brahman. One statement of the Upanishads, one statement of Mother Shruti, if you inquire into, then you will, knowing your limitations, you inquire with full faith in the Shruti and you discover. Even though in this case it is just that he heard the Shruti and he went and shared it, which means this knowledge passes through Guru Shishya Parampara. And if the Guru got fame, the Shishya also gets fame who listens. But one who realizes it, then what to talk about that? Which means even these devas who are busy serving the world and live in heaven, those who serve, Jina Sevya Tina Payaman. Yeah. By demanding you can't get. By serving you get. By action, by performance you get. These devatas, because they just came close to Brahman, which means even began to inquire, and Indra came to know from the Shruti, became so powerful that today, nowadays, you see why all the corporate courses incorporate everything from the Bhagavad Gita and the Upanishads. Even for your material success, eshavo tushta kamaduk. This is your wish-fulfilling cow. So they became so famous to glorify that this is not some ordinary knowledge. Yeah. That even Agni and Vayu could not gain it, understand it, so don't despair. Yeah. Don't despair. But like Indra, be consistent. Yeah. Nothing else. ʟɪᴏ tena labhya. Now there is more you can go on thinking, the more you compare it with the various stories in the Puranas, the more you will get that how all these Puranic and even historical stories that our rishis have enlisted show all this only what you have studied in the Upanishads. Got it? Now stop telling, repeating, or telling your children, iska koi proof nahi hai, it's mythology, it's just allegorical stories. They are matter of fact. They're revealers of truth. Also, one may think that, I've got this knowledge, I don't need upasana, which God, what God, there is no God, there is only Brahman, and I am Brahman. In this world, without Bhagwan's grace, nothing can be. Yeah. Not even Guru. And without Guru's grace, Bhagwan may be right in front of us, but we can't recognize. No? We may be doing various sadhanas also like Vibhishan. But until Hanumanji tells him what surrender is, Vibhishan doesn't gain God. So many things and it is from this, if you more you contemplate on this Yaksha Upakhyan, the secret of the Puranas will get revealed to us. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti शांति। हरि ओम। श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरि ओम।